Hey everyone! Welcome to today's deep dive into a topic that's probably crossed your mind at least once while scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. Why do we follow influencers? I mean, think about it. These are people we've likely never met, yet they hold this magnetic pull over our attention, our wallets, and sometimes even our life choices. Whether it's a fitness guru pushing protein shakes, a travel vlogger making us dream of Bali, or a beauty influencer convincing us we need new mascara, influencers are everywhere. And let's be honest, we're not just passively watching, we're hooked. So what's going on in our brains? Why do we care so much about what these strangers say, wear, or do? Today, we're unpacking the psychology behind why we follow influencers. We'll explore the emotional, social, and cognitive triggers that make us hit that follow button and keep coming back for more. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of why influencers have such a grip on us, and maybe even rethink your own scrolling habits. Let's dive in. The need to belong and social identity. First up, let's talk about one of the most fundamental human drives, the need to belong. Humans are social creatures. Back in the day, our survival depended on being part of a tribe, whether it was for hunting, protection, or sharing resources. Fast forward to today, and that need hasn't gone away. It's just taken new forms. Enter social media and influencers. When we follow an influencer, we're not just liking their content. We're often aligning ourselves with a community. Think about the fandoms around influencers like Mr. Beast or Charli D'Amelio. Fans don't just watch their videos. They adopt their slang, mimic their style, and even defend them in comment sections. This is where something called social identity theory comes into play. This theory, developed by psychologists Henri Tajfel and John Turner, says that we define ourselves partly through the groups we belong to. Following an influencer is like joining a modern-day tribe. Their followers share values, aesthetics, or goals, whether it's clean eating, minimalist living, or gaming culture. For example, if you follow a fitness influencer like Chloe Ting, you're not just watching workout videos. You're signaling that you're part of the health-conscious, disciplined crowd. It feels good to be part of something bigger, especially when the influencer reinforces that identity with phrases like, "We're in this together," or "You're killing it, fam." This sense of belonging is powerful. It taps into our deep-seated need to feel connected, even if that connection is digital. But here's the kicker. This belonging doesn't require real-world interaction. You don't need to meet other followers, or even the influencer, to feel like you're part of the group. Social media creates this illusion of closeness, and influencers are masters at making us feel included. That's why we keep coming back. It's not just about the content. It's about feeling like we're part of their world. Parasocial relationships. The illusion of friendship. Now, let's get into something a little more personal. Parasocial relationships. This is a fancy term for the one-sided emotional bonds we form with people we don't actually know, like celebrities, or, you guessed it, influencers. Coined by psychologists Donald Horton and Richard Wohl in the 1950s, parasocial relationships describe how we can feel a sense of friendship or intimacy with someone who has no idea we exist. Influencers are pros at fostering these relationships. They talk directly to the camera, share personal stories, and respond to comments or DMs, or at least make it seem like they do. When an influencer says, "You guys are like my family," or shares a vulnerable moment like a mental health struggle or a breakup, it tricks our brains into thinking we know them. And the more we watch, the stronger this bond grows. Here's why this works. Our brains aren't great at distinguishing between real and virtual relationships. When an influencer smiles at the camera, our brain releases oxytocin, the same feel-good hormone we get from real-life interactions. Over time, we start to trust them, even rely on them for advice or inspiration. This is why you might find yourself buying a product an influencer recommends without a second thought. It's not just a purchase, it's like taking advice from a friend. But there's a catch. These relationships are inherently one-sided. The influencer doesn't know you, and their vulnerability is often carefully curated to keep you engaged. Studies, like one from the Journal of Media Psychology in 2020, show that parasocial relationships can boost self-esteem and reduce loneliness, but they can also leave us feeling empty when we realize the connection isn't mutual. Yet we keep following, because that illusion of closeness is addictive. The power of aspiration and social comparison. Next up, let's talk about aspiration. Influencers often represent the ideal version of something we want, whether it's wealth, beauty, success, or adventure. They're living the dream, and we want a piece of it. This ties into social comparison theory, proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger in 1954. We constantly compare ourselves to others to evaluate our own worth, and influencers are the perfect benchmark. There are two types of social comparison: upward and downward. Upward comparison happens when we look at someone better than us, like an influencer with a perfect body or a luxurious lifestyle. Downward comparison is when we look at someone worse off to feel better about ourselves. Influencers thrive on upward comparison. Their curated lives make us think, if I follow their advice, I can be like them. Take a travel influencer like Louis Cole. His breathtaking drone shots of exotic locations make us dream of quitting our 9-to-5 and backpacking across the globe. Or consider a fashion influencer like Amy Song, whose impeccable outfits inspire us to revamp our wardrobe. These influencers sell a lifestyle, and we buy into it because we aspire to their version of success. But here's where it gets tricky. Constant upward comparison can tank our self-esteem. A 2019 study in computers and human behavior found that heavy social media use, especially following influencers, is linked to lower body image and higher anxiety. We see their highlight reels and forget they're just those curated moments, not reality. Yet, we keep following because the promise of becoming them is so alluring. The role of FOMO and scarcity. Another big reason we follow influencers. FOMO, fear of missing out. Influencers are experts at creating a sense of urgency. Limited edition products, exclusive discount codes, or only available for 24 hours stories tap into our fear of being left behind. This is rooted in a psychological principle called scarcity, which says we value things more when they're rare or hard to get. When an influencer says, "This collab sold out last time in hours, so grab it now," our brains go into overdrive. We don't want to miss out on the next big thing, whether it's a skincare product or a course on crypto trading. This is why influencer marketing works so well. Brands know that FOMO drives impulse purchases. Social media platforms amplify this. Algorithms prioritize content that keeps us engaged, so we're constantly bombarded with posts that scream, "Act now." A 2021 report by Influencer Marketing Hub showed that influencer-driven campaigns generate up to 11 times the return on investment of traditional ads, largely because of this urgency. We follow influencers to stay in the loop, but that loop is designed to keep us chasing trust, authority, and the halo effect. Let's talk about trust. Why do we trust influencers, sometimes more than experts? This comes down to something called the halo effect, a cognitive bias where we assume someone who's good at one thing, say, making entertaining videos, is also credible in other areas, like nutrition or finance. If an influencer is